Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another whiskey review. And it is always exciting to get into the latest batch of the Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series. Today, we are going to be getting into series number 13. And while at one point in time, this would have been one of my favorite series on the shelf, particularly with the crazy series of Discovery 2, 3, 4. But then by the time you hit 5, man, there were some rough patches there. Everything seemed to bounce back around batch 10, going into the great batches that were 11 and 12. But 13 is a bit crazy on paper. So we're going to go through the details and then we'll get into the review. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. All right, let's pour this one out here so it has a chance to air out while we're talking through all of the background and the stats. But what makes this one unique is that it is a double-barreled version of the Discovery series, double-barreled in both American and Hungarian oak, coming in at 110.8 proof. On the side, Bardstown's always great about telling us the mash bills and the ages. Notice here, everything is coming from Kentucky. So if we start at the top, that looks to be a 9-year Barton, followed by a 9-year Heaven Hill, then a 15-year Wild Turkey, though I do wonder if that is some 15-year Buff Turkey. And then the bottom one looks to be an 8-year Green River potentially. Now, all that is speculation, purely based on the ratios there. But it sounds like a marriage of some great Kentucky bourbons. Now, I am personally a bit divisive these days on double oak in general. There was a point in my whiskey journey where I loved the double oaked profile. But the more and more distilleries that have done it over the years, whether it's because of the barrels or because we're drinking it at a higher proof cast strength than maybe some of those initial double barrel offerings that I was exposed to, such as Woodford, double oaking isn't the selling point for me like it used to be. And special shout out to a special whiskey friend who got this bottle in my hands so quickly. This cost $140 coming from the distillery. So per usual, we're going to go through the tasting notes here, starting with the nose, into the palate, into the finish. We'll then get into the final scores and final thoughts. So cheers, everybody. Thank you for joining me this far. Nose on this one does have a aggressive stance, starting with what I would describe as a charred marshmallow. But before that charring, that marshmallow was covered in like a brown sugar, really doubling down on that sweetness, but giving it a unique aspect to those charred sugars beyond just the marshmallow itself. There is a deeper oak trying to shine through, but it is held back by that double oaking quite a bit. And there are also some fruits as you get into it, mainly stone fruits, getting into a little bit of a cherry, a little bit of an apricot, but I think you really need to search for those. There's also some nice spices going on, mainly centering in on some black pepper, and then balancing all of these darker leaning notes is this nice vibrant vanilla. I'm really hoping that those fruits really shine through as we get into the palate here, because man, there's like a little hint of them right there that's got me excited. All right, let's go in for a taste. Cheers, everybody. Starting out with the mouthfeel on this one, it's oily, but it's not very thick or viscous as you might expect. I mean, even if we get into the glass here, you can kind of see it. Like, they run quick. You know, it's got a few grooves there, but for the most part, it just doesn't stick to the glass. It just runs through. Up front, match the initial description of the nose with the brown sugar and the charred marshmallow and the oak, really giving it that dark profile. Those fruits that I was hoping for do shine through. And in the transition to mid-palate, those cherries and apricots come through a little bit more, which was exciting for me. But then when I sat down and really wanted to describe mid-palate, man, it is just more sweet candy goodness than anything else. My notes were filled with chocolate, caramel, little nuttiness, almost reminded me of a Snickers, getting back into thoughts of those charred marshmallows. And really, the note that just keeps shining over and over again is this like distinct brown sugar. So despite the ages ranging from 8 years to 15 from all of those different Kentucky distilleries, it is the sweetness that is mainly coming through. On the finish, it actually turns brighter than I was even expecting. I mean, 20% of this is a 15-year wild turkey or buff turkey or something resembling that. But while I still get some of that chocolate, man, there's a lot of like nougat going on now too. So I'm just like hopping up and down the candy bar range as I'm trying to analyze this one. The fruits are still there, but they do dissipate quite a bit by the finish. Still getting like the marshmallow cream vibes. So not like a straight marshmallow, but sometimes you can find an ice cream parlor that will have like this more runny marshmallow cream they can put on top of your sundae. It's like that type of a brighter sweetness going on. Now, one thing I noticed was on subsequent sips, the finish just kind of builds and builds and builds in terms of length. So sit down with this one, give it time, do some back-to-back sips, let this one build up on your palate. But the thing that did finally shine through, probably on like the second or third sip, was some of that richer oak that I'd be looking for with something that's got 15-year-old stuff in it, mainly hitting me on the sides of my tongue during the finish. So here in the channel, we do have a robust scoring system behind the scenes, comprised of a flavor score, experience score, and a value score. Aggregate all of those scores together, and you can see how this whiskey compares to other whiskeys. And for this one, I gave it a little lower of a score than I was expecting going into this, 82 out of 100. Still a good score overall, but for something in the Discovery series that also costs $140, there's something about this blend, or maybe it is that double oaking process, that just doesn't resonate to me. I liked everything that was going on. I actually gave it 8s almost across the board. And then I gave it a little extra bonus on the finish, which is my favorite part of this. But all in all, I'd go back to the Discovery 12 or 11 if I were reaching for a Discovery. Now, this be an interesting one to get blind to see if I have the same point of view, or maybe over time, I'll see a little bit of that 15-year have a chance to shine. So if you had the Discovery 13 series yet, what do you think about it? Let us know in the comments. And just remember, while you can always find more whiskey, you can never have enough whiskey friends. So take care of those around you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hello again, whiskey friends, everybody. A big shout out to our amazing Patreon community. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't continue to produce the content and barrel picks week after week. And for everybody else out there, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you know. And we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.